Hey, queer fam, welcome to part 5 of Queer History No One Talks About. And let me tell you, these next 5 stories, they are romantic, rebellious, sacred, and scandalous in the best queer way possible. From gay samurais to secret Christian weddings, this episode is full of the receipts they never wanted us to see. So if you're ready to time travel through history with your queer goggles on, hit like, subscribe, and drop A in the comments. Let's reclaim the stories they tried to bury. The Lesbians of Langolan Love Without Permission. Let's start in 1778 when 2 Irish women, Lady Eleanor Butler and Sarah Ponsonby, said, "We'd rather run away together than be married off to men." And they meant it. They left their homes, rejected their families' plans, and set up house together in a Gothic cottage in Langolan, Wales, where they lived in devoted romantic partnership for over 50 years. They dressed androgynously, ran in intellectual circles, and hosted everyone from poets to royalty. But most of all, they loved each other. Historians for years called them passionate friends. But if you read their love letters, there's no mistaking it. These were 2 lesbians who chose each other, loudly, fiercely, and forever. Let's call it what it was, a queer love story that dared to exist out loud in the 18th century. The queer samurai of Japan, Shudo and warrior love, next stop, feudal Japan, where queer male love wasn't just accepted, it was part of the samurai code. Welcome to Shudo, the way of the youth. It was a tradition where senior samurai formed deeply emotional and often romantic bonds with younger apprentices. These weren't one-night flings. They were spiritual, educational, loyal, and yes, sometimes erotic. Love, mentorship, and martial discipline were all rolled into one. Some of Japan's most famous warriors and poets wrote openly about these relationships. It wasn't hidden. It wasn't shameful. It was honored. Queerness existed in armor, in poetry, in swordplay, long before the West arrived to shame it. Gay marriage in the church, adelphopoiesis ceremonies. Yes, you read that right. There were same-sex union ceremonies in some early Christian communities. In the Byzantine Empire, the church performed rituals called adelphopoiesis, literally brother-making. 2 men would come before a priest, hold hands, receive a blessing, and even share communion. The vows sounded a lot like marriage. Now, were these ceremonies always romantic? Maybe not. But many historians now believe some of them absolutely were, especially when the men involved lived together and were buried side by side. Queerness wasn't always seen as incompatible with faith. We've just been fed a version of history that's been edited. Drag before drag, the cross-dressing legends of Peking opera. Before RuPaul, before Paris is Burning, before wigs snatched headlines, there were the Nandan of Chinese Peking opera. These were male performers who specialized in playing female roles, not just with costume, but with full transformation of movement, voice, presence, and grace. And many of them, queer, trans, gender non-conforming, living boldly at the edge of gender expression long before non-binary was a word. Some had massive queer fan bases, others were scandalized for their lovers and lifestyles, but they built careers and fame on bending gender in ways that society could only accept on stage. They were the blueprint. They made art out of resistance and lived authentically through performance when nowhere else was safe. The world's first LGBTQ+ rights organization, Berlin, 1897. You've probably heard of Stonewall, but long before that, in 1897, in Berlin, Magnus Hirschfeld founded the Scientific Humanitarian Committee, the first documented LGBTQ plus rights organization in history. This wasn't a secret club. It was a public campaign to repeal Germany's anti-sodomy law, paragraph 175, but that's not all. Hirschfeld was also one of the first people to affirm trans identities with medical understanding. He advocated for legal gender changes and even proposed a third gender in official documents. He created what we might call the first queer research institute. Until the Nazis came, they raided his office, burned his books, destroyed his legacy, but not completely, because we're still here. And so is the echo of his revolutionary work. So, what did we learn today? That queer history is romantic, radical, spiritual, and global. That it's been hidden in footnotes, erased by fire, and whispered across centuries, but never truly gone. These stories remind us that we come from warriors, lovers, artists, and rebels. And the best way to honor them is to be unapologetically ourselves. Drop a comment and tell me which story hit you hardest. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because queer history no one talks about is just getting started. Until next time, stay sacred, stay loud, stay queer.